I am officially running out of room on my shelves and I need to do something about it once I get home. And the opposite of a good idea, based upon that knowledge, is let's go to CEX right now and buy some more games, shall we? But first, I need to take my little sausage dog to my partner's house because we're trying to acclimatise her to that because we're about to go on holiday soon. My partner's mother's house. I don't know if I clarified that there. We live together. I don't know. Ruby, chill out. She does not like cars, no matter how much we've put her in one, no matter whether we've got a proper car seats or ever us on her lap. She's never a fan. Come sit with me. Come on, just sit still. That's it, good girl. Just sit there. And of course not. Well, that's because that was half a yawn, half a moan. Ruby, you're fine. See, now she's here, she'll behave. It's just the car. I don't know why she's so bad in the car. She's gonna need, she's like a rabbit. Okay, now the dog is with her family, we can go do about what we're going to do. She's nearly perfectly trained. Her only problems right now is that she doesn't like being in the car and she is weirdly defensive about the living room. Like, it doesn't matter who's in.
Really reactive.
It doesn't matter who's in there or who's not in there. It's the living room specifically.
She doesn't like being in there and hearing any other noise.
Like, God forbid I dare to adjust the way that I'm sat upstairs while she's in the living room. She'll kick off. But yeah, today I'm gonna film as many videos as I can to try and get ahead of myself, because I upload every single day, usually sometimes twice a day. And I need to bank some videos so that I can schedule them to go up in my absence while I'm not able to be filming, because I don't want to miss a day just because we're going on holiday. And it'll be a lot easier to film that amount of videos not having to be concerned about what the puppy is doing. So yeah, and because she's staying at her family's while we're away, we've been bringing her here every weekend for the last few weeks to get her acclimatized. Like, just then like a couple of weeks ago, she'd just hide from them. Now
I would take her there and
like, she
would instantly go under the sofa and sort of hide.
Whereas now she's like excited to see them and
she did
wiggling a bum.
Wiggle.
Yeah. Right, to CEX. While we're here, I actually do need to bring back another game as well, because I bought one the other day that turns out I already had. It's very rare that happens because I've usually got a pretty good handle on what I do and don't have, but yeah. Okay, and we're here. Interestingly, I do wonder how many of you also follow Retro Ghetto, because I'm like 100% sure that's where those have come from. The Battle for Bikini Bottom things. Interesting. Right. What?
I had the DS I used to have.
They do have a lot of DSs generally. Well, let's
I used to have it was black. The top of it, just this bit with like shiny metallic red.
They do seem to have a lot of older stuff at the minute, like cardboard stuff, like stuff that I don't collect. I'd hate to collect cardboard because the stickers ruin cardboard, like my Silent Hill 2. They have Luigi's Mansion 2. Although I'm pretty sure it'd be cheaper to buy that brand new. There's a few Switch games I would want, but they don't have them physically ever. It's like, I don't think they were released physically in England. It's the Devil May Cry collection and the Metal Gear, not Metal Gear, what's it called? Mega Man collection for Battle Network. I don't know. What should we get? I feel like they're running out of PlayStation 5 stuff. Look how much is front facing. I was just saying, I'm pretty sure this is 3 days in a row we've been into the CEX. Also, check this out. Trivia time, does that seem familiar? Points to anybody that can tell me why Dragon Quest looks like Dragon Ball. R.I.P. I don't understand why they sell physical Elder Scrolls Online. Did that even not flop? Because I swear it did. It's always interesting when I see something that I looked for ages and had to travel to get. That one. Remember when people were like, you should get the Midnight Club games, you don't have all the Rockstar stuff, but I'm not after all the Rockstar stuff, because I don't do racing. I'm tempted, but I don't have the space. Like, I barely have the space for things that I do want, let alone things that I definitely don't need. See, like, that's another game that I had to hunt down. Scarface. That's a possibility. Oh look, I saw this guy yesterday. I thought he was buying it though. This is pretty cool. A Steelbook Jericho. But the case is, I don't know. Do I? I mean, I feel like Jericho being a bit messed up kind of makes sense. You know what? Okay. This is a real slippery slope I'm on with Steelbooks at the minute. Like, I definitely don't need to be buying too many Steelbooks, because this is becoming a trend. I feel like it's an expensive one to pick up too. Also, a while ago, somebody was like, why'd you call it a tin book? And it's because some of them are genuinely called tin books, not Steelbooks. Like this one's a tin book. I wasn't wrong. She's saying that she definitely beat Professor Layton. I don't believe that you beat Professor Layton. I don't have the faith in you, I'm sorry. She's like, we don't need to buy them. You've got them on your dodgy R4 card.
And I'm like, iconic one with the chicks and wolves.
Yes, that's on every game ever. But it's like, if we only bought things based upon what I couldn't emulate, we'd never buy anything ever. Because I could just get anything. Yeah. It is fear, yes. It'd be interesting to own them. How many of them are there? There's definitely more than 3, and there's only 3.
I think they probably did some 3DS ones. I don't think I finished this one.
I only played Curious Village.
I finished both of those.
Okay, haul achieved. Let's go get some food, go home, and then it's a content day. I'll do my haul and then start working on 4 more videos. Right then, we're home. I feel like for you guys this video has only been a few minutes, but for me it has been a few hours because the traffic has been pretty crazy. It's a bank holiday Monday, so I suspect that's why. I couldn't have told you it was a bank holiday Monday. She told me because, you know, bank holidays don't really apply in this line of work. You just sort of... I would genuinely forget what day it was if it wasn't for the fact that I do specific things on specific days. Anyway, let's go through what we got and talk about my shelves and problems and things. Okay, so the first thing I got was that Steelbook version of Clive Barker's Jericho. I was hesitant because of the cosmetic damage up here, but it does kind of fit the sort of vibe of the game. It is a sort of dark and grungy style of game, I suppose. It's interesting because it's one of those games that I do actually have fond memories of, because the very first time that I used the PlayStation 3, it was to play a few different demos of a game at like my cousin's house while my parents were out getting drunk, and Jericho was one of them. I remember you could use the 6-axis controller to like aftertouch control a bullet through people's heads, and very young me was having fun with that because, yeah, that probably explains a lot about me. Anyway, after that we got some games that I already owned digitally, but I wanted to get physically because it occurred to me when somebody asked me if I owned them and I went to get them off the shelf, because I knew I did own them and I have played them many times, that I didn't have them physically. So we got Bioshock 1, Bioshock 2, and Bioshock Infinite. This one I did actually own physically, but we'll get to that when I get to my shelving problems. I'll explain that shortly. So yeah, that's the 3 Bioshock games. Like I said, I've played these to death. In fact, I'm pretty sure there is an entire live stream and we're going through Bioshock Infinite on my channel somewhere. It's one of them that it's weird, right? I feel like Bioshock Infinite is a game that became disliked the more time has gone on. Back when it came out, everybody loved it. And now whenever I see videos about it on the internet, people are just slating it. And Bioshock 2 appears to have gone the other way. It's like, I remember people really didn't like Bioshock 2 compared to Bioshock 1. But now the internet has decided that it's not as bad. I really try not to form my opinions on anything based upon other people's thoughts or videos. It's why if I know I'm going to play a game or watch a film, I will avoid absolutely everything I possibly can about it. A good classic example of that going on right now, by the way, is Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. The amount of footage of that is on the internet is crazy, but I scroll past it every time it pops up because I want everything to be a fresh experience. I think, especially with, you know, the whole TikTok thing that I do, I see a lot of people regurgitating opinions of people that they've seen on the internet, because after I formed my own opinion, played a thing, that's when I will watch the retrospectives, the reviews and the critiques that other people have done. And it's like, oh yeah, this video's got 1 million views and I've seen at least 30 people say the exact same thing in my comments. Now I know where they got it from. You know, it's one of them. Anyway, after that, we've got Max Payne 3. This is a game that, once again, I own digitally, but not physically. Max Payne, the trilogy, is definitely best played on a PC. It just is. It is strange that we have probably never had a third-person shooter that is as good as Max Payne's mechanics ever since, and it's kind of a shame. It's been a few years since I've played them, and I've only actually played through Max Payne 1, 2, and 3 once. So I'm definitely overdue. The only problem is that when it comes to recording PC games, it's kind of a difficulty because you actually... Mouse and keyboard is the way to play Max Payne 3, but you guys know that with the way that I record my games, that might be a bit of a problem. But we'll figure that out when the time comes. Anyway, after that, we've got Resident Evil 6 and Resident Evil 5 Gold Edition. So... You already know that I already own all the Resident Evil games, and I did already own Resident Evil 5 and 6 physically, but my cases were NTSC. I think I've shown you those in a video from the other day. So the cases that I had were American because I had to make them myself because they were some of the cases that got damaged in the move. Interestingly enough, the Gold Edition specifically of Resident Evil 5 has very similar motion controls to the Wii version of Resident Evil 4. And that was why I remember buying it when I was younger, because I remember I watched that playthrough of the dude play Resident Evil 4 on the Wii, and it made me really want to play Resident Evil 5 in the same sort of control system. It didn't work out quite as well with the Move controller, but I do remember I ended up actually profiting quite heavily off that PlayStation Move controller, because what ended up happening is when the PlayStation VR system came out, they retroactively made the PlayStation Move controller backwards compatible and made that one of the controllers that you're supposed to use for the motion controls of the VR, or at least of the first generation PSVR, which massively increased the price of it. So I had like one sitting in my cupboard from this game like 15 years ago, and then I was able to sell it for a decent chunk of profit, which is kind of a cool story. Like I said, I attached memories to things pretty easily, and that's why I'm able to like just recall this stuff. Next up, we've got Duke Nukem Forever. This was kind of an interesting one because I know that it's not supposed to be a very good game, but it's one that I wanted nonetheless. And while I was buying the rest of the games that you guys see in front of you, someone traded it in, and I was talking to the members of staff because I pretty much know the staff members quite well at most of these CEXs now, and I was just chatting with him, and I was like, what's the turnaround on games that have come in? Because there's one that's just come in that I'm actually after, because this is actually kind of hard to find, or at least there was none others anywhere near me. And he was like, oh, I can get it stickered up and you can buy it right now if you want. I was like, yeah, let's do it. So, Duke Nukem Forever. Following on from that, we've got Shadow of Mordor Game of the Year Edition. Once again, game that I own digitally, but not physically. Very strange, don't really know why. I remember at one point I had a steelbook of Shadow of War. I don't appear to have that anymore, and if I ever encounter it again, I will buy it back, but I don't know why I don't have it. It's weird. So yeah, I'm also after Shadow of War. But again, I've played them all to death. This might be one of the rare games that I'm pretty sure I have 100%ed, both of them actually. So yeah. Following on from that, we've got a few PS2 games, which is something I really should not be buying due to the fact that I definitely have no more space for PlayStation 2 games. I'm going to have to remove something from my shelf to fit these in, sadly. But again, to go with Max Payne 3, we have Max Payne 1 and Max Payne 2. Realistically, these are the inferior versions of the games because they are best played on PC, but I don't have a PC version of them to display, and whenever it comes up, the topic in the videos, it's nice to have the physical game to go and grab off the shelf to talk about. Like I said, it's the same reason why I bought the Bioshock games, because I needed them for the sake of being able to speak about them in a video rather than just talking about them but not having them to physically hold and show and talk about. So yeah, that was today's haul. However, the problem is that there's no room for them on the shelf. So what I did last night was I went through my shelves. Let's go over. So as you can see, I've managed to create some space, and the way that I've done that is I've told the story before, but a lot of my PlayStation 3 games got damaged. The cases got sun damaged in when I was younger in my mum's house, and I had to replace those cases myself. And over time, I've been working to, buy the games again and replace the case. So what I've done is I went through, or at least most of, and found any replacement cases and pulled them out to create space for new stuff. It has meant that stuff, so for example, if we just come over here, I've replaced this. It does mean that I've got discs just loose because the case might be fake, but the disc is real. So what I will do is I will put the discs for the games that I've replaced with their replacement copies. But as you can see, I pulled out quite a few fakes. So there's loads of PlayStation 4 space, which is kind of annoying because I don't think there's too many more PlayStation 4 games that I needed to buy. Also, there's the game that I took back today because I already owned it, Kingdoms of Amalur: Re-Reckoning. But yeah, based on how many PlayStation 3 games I've just bought, I'm not even sure there's going to be that much space left over when I put them in a moment. But yeah, I think I've nearly replaced just about everything, but I'm glad that I'm able to create a bit more space. PlayStation 2, though, is full, and there's no real place in my office for more storage. My only consideration, and the thing that I'm considering doing, is this bottom shelf here. It's all Xbox One stuff, and I have replaced the vast majority of it now with PlayStation 4 versions because it's just not stuff I care about. So if we go through, and I just actually take a mental note, Ark doesn't need a physical copy. Assassin's Creed have all been replaced. Borderlands 3, that I should probably replace. Bioshock, why is there even a Bioshock? That's the collection. That's not even what that looks like. That's a fake copy. Borderlands, that's a fake. So like a lot of these are going to be fake ones that I made too. These Darksiders games, willing to bet that they're fake. Yep. So like a lot of I'm pretty sure that basically this entire row of Xbox One stuff can probably go now. Because at the end of the day, I primarily collect for PlayStation. Like, granted, I've got a decent chunk of Xbox 360 games as well. The PlayStation systems are really where I aim for. Like, I don't try and just get multiples of everything for no reason whatsoever. But looking at the games in here, they are for the most part games that I already own physically on another console now, or are just fake cases that I created in the first place for games that I own digitally. For example, Onimusha Warlords Remaster. This is an empty case. This doesn't even need to be there, but you see what I mean? So if I did make the decision to pull out all of the Xbox One games, absent these few on the corner here that are not Xbox One stuff, it would make me another 50 slots, which would future-proof me for a decent chunk of time, so I am quite considering doing that. Yeah, especially because the Xbox One, at the end of the day, I think my Xbox One is just basically a backwards compatible machine at this point. I just use it to play 360 games. When new games come out, I aim at the PlayStation 5. Yeah. So yeah, guys, that is about it for today's video. I'm going to continue making videos for the rest of today. So if you if you see a lot of videos in the coming days or in the coming week where I'm wearing the same clothes, just shh, because they're all made on the same day. Although I promise you, all of my clothes are like sponsored clothes. My sponsor is My Protein. Use code Kale if you use My Protein. Send me screenshots of any orders you've ever made over on Instagram because they give you a £200 voucher to give out to one of you guys that does. But due to that, any of My Protein clothes you ever see me wearing were free, and I tend to have like 3 of each t-shirt. So while to you guys it might look like I'm wearing the same clothes every day, I genuinely just alternate between like the same 3 versions of the same 4 shirts. I have like how many different black t-shirts do I have? It's crazy. Anyway, I'm going to keep making videos for the rest of the day because like I said, I'm going on holiday, but I don't want me going on holiday to mean that there's just no content made, you know? So I'm going to make content in advance to schedule it to go up while we're not here. So that's the rest of today. Yeah, see you later, guys. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. I need to make sure I start saying that towards the start of the video, really, rather than right at the very end, because the majority of you that have made it to the very end probably already have subscribed. Yeah.